right, guys. So we're live. So the game you've got is DesignEye, and it's a graphic design education game. It's a board game. And are you a board game designer?
I would not consider myself a board game. I am a graphic designer. Yeah.
I mean, I would never think to design a board game. Like, I would think it's so complicated and making all the pieces work. But I mean, you went and felt that like creating a board game, DesignEye, was like a good step in terms of bringing design education just to the masses.
It was actually one of my thesis ideas, and to try to solve the problem of diversity in the design industry. And I know kids love games, or gamifying, education, or the gamification of learning. And so I thought that was an appropriate, or just one of many appropriate ways to, solve that problem. So, and I believe in the physical interaction experience versus an online experience that I think can lose a lot of that real sweet stuff when people interact with each other. So that's where I started, and I like to finish what I start, so I have to see it through.
Yeah. And you've launched this, and part of the conversation that we had on our podcast was the fact that you really just felt that this was a matter of bringing this to just educating youth of color and just showing them that there's an opportunity in design.
Yeah. So DesignEye is considered the world's premier graphic design education game, created to educate youth, particularly youth of color, about graphic design, exposing them to career paths in the creative world. Came out of the AIGA design census, showing that there's still a lack of diversity in the design industry. So this is just one of many ideas to solve that problem. Get kids interested by learning, or get kids interested in design by learning about the basics of design and getting them to create design. So that's DesignEye.
Let's get into this thing, right? So we've got there's a poly wrap on the outside of this thing, which is just, it's mandatory when you're talking about board games. And as I'm getting through this, how did you, one, you designed the entire thing, and then two, how did you get it produced? How did you find somebody to produce it? How many did you produce in the first point, right? So there's this material. This is not recyclable, so this goes into your trash. Make sure you put this stuff in your trash.
So yeah, once I launched my Kickstarter last year, July, and I won the Kickstarter. I reached my goal. Thank you everyone again for supporting me there. I used those funds to mass produce, and I went through Alibaba to find a Chinese manufacturer.
Yeah.
Alibaba was recommended to me by several people who were kind of business influencers that I reached out to. And one person, they use Alibaba themselves, so they kind of had a little bit of experience with that. So I just went through a bunch of proposals, a bunch of people, manufacturers who gave me their quotes. One quote that I liked, and me and that guy, we communicated, day and night, and got the prototype in. I was happy with the prototype, so I felt more comfortable, especially with video calling him as well. And what I went through.
So how many did you order? What was your first order? How many?
The first batch was around 1,000 games.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I have several hundred left. So I sent all the Kickstarter backers their copies, and then I have enough left over for inventory.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then you're getting ready to place another order, I would assume.
Not yet. I'm still grinding to sell more games and that kind of thing. But yeah, once I do get more capital, it'll be the same process. Ordering a batch.
Okay. Awesome. And so if you're watching this, and the holidays are coming up, you've got a graphic designer, packaging designer in your life, this is the game to get for sure. So as we unpack it, you've got the poly wrap on the outside of it. The front of it, you've got DesignEye. Looks like the lid is printed 4-color process. You've got, I love this icon, by the way, this D and the I.
Yeah, everyone loves it. They they really love that one.
It's awesome, man. And then like this is printed 4-color black. It's shiny, but it's not a lamination. It looks like that's some kind of like AQ coating on there. Then you've got the dots up here, right, which give you your 4-color. You've got graphic design game.
Yeah.
And pretty much like just really clean.
Yeah.
And when you talk about like board games, usually there's like a big, cartoony character on here and like bright colors and things are coming at you, but you went super minimal.
Yeah.
What's the thought process there?
So I'm definitely like a minimalist. I really love minimalism, but part of the concept was having a blank canvas. I consider it a canvas. So I could have easily hired an illustrator, write some crazy graphics about design. But what I wanted to do was create a space, a moment where especially student players, they're not so hung up on what they see on the lid, on the cover, because I wanted them to project their own ideas onto their sheets of paper.
Yeah.
And in the game where you're sketching, you can reference other material that's in the curriculum, but if you copy that, you lose points. So I didn't want too much out there, too much in front of them for them to copy off of. So it's meant to be like a blank canvas for them to be able to project their own ideas.
I love it. And then when you open the box, you take the lid off, you're greeted with, again, just super minimal. You've got your board game. Looks like you got some cards and a timer.
Yeah.
And then you got an insert on here, like just a PVC insert. So you remove this, you've got the instructions again, just that DesignEye eyeball, right? That D is pretty killer. The board game, you open this up. And I mean, there's so many moving parts in here. It's crazy. Just to think, I'm just envisioning myself designing a board game and all these pieces. Like I'd forget something for sure.
Yeah, it was a lot. It's been like 2 years now, like 5 years. I started the first prototype.
Wow.
Number of 2016. So.
Yeah, so you've got this board game. There's this. You've got colored corners. You've got a studio sheet.
Yeah, that's basically like your cheat sheet.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've got like you've got examples for branding, experiential, web design, print. You've got packaging. I think you need a bigger packaging section, and then you've got like motion. So for anybody that's starting this game, they don't have to be a graphic designer, right?
Yeah. Not at all. It's all meant to be like very introductory. One of my challenges was like, how do I create an educational piece that isn't too overwhelming, especially for student players? So it's primarily for student players, but yeah, anyone can play. But they're the main audience, and I wanted to make sure it was digestible enough for them to be able to enjoy without feeling bogged down. Then of course for older players, they get a kick out of it just by being more advanced and competing with each other. So I've seen all kinds of groups, friends play. Really crazy.
So yeah, I'm just picturing like my kids playing this, right? Like, it's funny. My daughter was reading. What was she reading to me? She's reading like the latest Graphic Design USA magazine. She's like, look at this. She's like, look at this. Look at the words here. She's like, I like how these words feel like X. I can't remember what she said. And then I'm like, oh yeah. I'm like, that's a serif and it's really thin. And you got like the heavyweight. And she's like, yeah, I noticed it. And it's funny, like kids notice that stuff. I don't remember noticing anything like that as a kid, but kids notice that today. And you like on your cheat sheet, you've got different form factors here. You've got simplicity, you've got closures. You're showing, just line work, heavier work. You've got typography. You're explaining, like brief explanations. You're just showing, serifs, sans serifs. You're talking about weight. You're talking about width, posture, point size. Like I think, playing this game, you'd really be able to have a conversation with the designer, as you progress through the game.
Yeah. And that's the curriculum there, the studio booklet.
See, and I love that it's a curriculum and it's not instructions, right? These are, I mean, this is, you're teaching somebody a lot. You're talking about letter marks, pictorial mark, abstract marks.
Yeah.
I would never, like as a kid, I wouldn't know any of these things. I don't think any kid knows this stuff. So it's super killer. You know, you've got film posters. I love the fact that your film posters, you know, it's not just your standard clip art, right? Like this stuff is, you know, you've got print.
Yeah.
And you created all the posters too.
Yeah, everything is original artwork. So yeah, part of that challenge. So one of my prototypes, I was using a lot of familiar brands like Pepsi, Coca-Cola, but that would just be, you know, very hefty rabbit hole to, you know, get through copyright stuff. So someone told me like, yeah, just create your own brands or create your own artwork. And I'm like, gosh, that's a lot of work, but you're right. I got to do it. And so that's what I did. And this is also a great example of the creative process. In the game, you're literally creating original ideas from scratch. They don't have to be perfect, but this is an opportunity, or me doing this is another reflection of that, like, you know, that attempt to just, you know, get ideas across.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is like, you know, like Kirk Bisola is listening here. He's like, this wasn't available when he was younger. I mean, as a designer, I think I would have gotten into design a lot sooner if I knew it existed. You know, so you've got like web design in here. You're explaining, you've got, you know, intro to web design, and you kind of go through what it means. You've got, you know, for the web exercise, like what they're supposed to do. You've got motion graphics in here also. So really, if you're 9 or 10 and you're playing this, these are things that you've never considered, right? You get on the Google and you type in and stuff pops up, but you don't realize the experience that you're going through. And you're kind of pointing that stuff out, right? You don't realize how there's a hierarchy in place, and you're going through that. Right. So you're giving them an intro to color. I love how it's like, you know, intro to color for the color blitz, which is part of the game. And you're like, try it, you know, look for an object around you. The object should be solid color. And you're telling them what to do and how to see color, probably for the first time.
Yeah, in a way they never saw it before.
Yeah.
Or even thought about it before.
So like, if you've ever seen instructions like this for a kid game, you know, not necessarily that this is a kid game, but you know, this is so impressive, man. Like,
thank you.
I'm so stoked to play this, but I'd love to, you know, if there's anybody out there that, you know, wants to get in contact with you, Deon, I think this is a great place to do it. They can find you on LinkedIn. Maybe somebody's interested in supporting your company, supporting design. You've got Sketchbook, which I love the fact that there's a sketchbook.
Yep, I call it the studio pad. So that's where they can just rip a sheet off and sketch. And every game comes with a box of pencils. I couldn't get them pre-sharpened for like safety reasons, but
sure. But they all say DesignEye, so that's awesome.
Yep.
And they're, you know what? And these are full-size pencils, right? They're not the little ones that come with like scrap, all those goofy games. Like these are full-size white killer pencils. You've got cards here, and they're all, they've got all icons. So what's this for?
So that's for the form blitz. Well, so there's sketching and then there's answering flashcards. So there are 3 blitz: the color blitz, type blitz, and the form blitz. You're pretty much answering the flashcards as quickly as you can within a minute. And then there's like the design history quiz deck. We're answering a history question. So you're learning about design history as well.
So what would you say to that? What's the expectation here?
So form is about learning about Gestalt. So it's a German word for form. How they create different visual forms that may have different perceptions. So that example was the law of simplicity, or a law of multi-stability. Yeah, that's multi-stability because there are 2 different interpretations. That's multi-stability, where's the front of the cube, and closure, your mind fills in the gap for different, visual forms. And you have to go through exactly how you're doing it. You're like kind of showing the player the cards, and they have to answer correctly, and they get points for that. That was closure on light bulb. Simplicity.
You better know these, dude.
Simplicity, it's most likely a circle, rectangle, and a triangle, not like some unique shape in and of itself. That the line through the circle, we perceive it as a line going straight through a circle, not doing some funny business behind the circle. So these are different, more advanced kind of design theories that I thought was cool to have.
Yeah. So Kirk's asking, what were some of the obstacles to designing a game like this big, right? Like, what about the branding and the legalities of things involved here?
Yeah, so I would say like that copyright law, because one of my earlier curriculums that had like a lot of action movie posters, Black Panther, at Coca-Cola, a lot of brands that people are familiar with, but and just kind of worrying about if I create my own original artwork, will that retain the student players? But nevertheless, I thought that was still the best move to go forward with. And everything else, because everything else is original, there was really no issue with like I'm in the process of registering the mark as well, so that's in queue right now. And that was not that many obstacles from that front. I did all the writing, I did everything. So yeah, again, this is over 5 years of working at it, getting feedback from close friends.
I mean, and it's just, again, everything is like, you've got everything in grayscale. It's all about the white space and giving everything room to breathe and letting the player express themselves. You're not giving them any hints towards anything, right? Yeah. So you've also got these type cards.
Yep, for the type lit, so that's with, you're pretty much naming what example of typography that is. So, and players can refer to the studio sheet or the booklet. That was weight. I think that was weight. And it's like really fast. Serif.
Sure.
Yes. Point size.
All right, that's 10 points for you. Cool, man. This is awesome. And then you've got you've also got color cards. Then you've got like a question mark card over here. I'm not sure what that is, but let's see these color cards. So
color blitz, that's actually everyone's favorite blitz. So you're learning about complementary colors and analogous colors, so the opposites and ones that are adjacent. So you'll say,
so if I show you this card,
you say red. So that read, the opposite of green is red.
Nice. And that's okay.
CMYK from the print side, yeah. Purple.
That's and that's actually an exercise that I've done with my kids, where I've asked them, I'll pull up a color, I'll show them something, I'm like, what's the opposite of this color? Because I've definitely worked on the color wheel with them, and I don't know, as a parent, as a design parent, you're a little bit impressed when your kid can understand that there's an opposite to color, and just introducing design slowly. I think it just makes kids be able to express themselves. They can be more creative. There's definitely a lot of really cool things that happen with incorporating design into this. And if there's anybody out there that's watching this, whether you're watching the live version or you're watching a repeat, if you've got a packagingschool.com and you want to incorporate this into your program, that would be, this would be amazing. If you're at, Art Center, if you're at RISD, or even if you're at a local community college, like these things are great to have around because it does create that conversation. Then you've got like these question cards, and so
design history. There are 30 history questions. So in the back of the curriculum, you'll see all the kind of answer passages, and it's kind of like in like ACT testing where you don't necessarily have to read the entire passage. You're just skimming for those keywords.
Yeah.
But when you do sit and you read the passage, you're actually learning about a bit of design history. So you have to answer the question correctly within a minute, and you get your 30 points.
So, all right. like just the questions on here are awesome. So if you're, again, if you're watching this, you can play along at home, right? Which of the studios was responsible for creating the popular MTV logo? A is VSA Partners, B is Landor Associates, C is CNG&H, D, Manhattan Design.
Yeah, that would be Manhattan Design.
Like, what game out there is asking you about specific design agencies? Like, that is so cool, man. I love it. Josh was asking if you've ever made an online version of this game.
So I have yes, but no. So I have the game on a platform called what is it called?
So but there is an online version.
There's an online version where you can like play. You're just moving your pawns around. You can roll the dice, but you have to have everything else in front of you. So you have to have sketch paper. It's that kind of thing.
Sure.
And I'm blanking on the platform right now.
Well, all right, hang on. I got a question for you. This is a good one. Like, just the fact that this question's in here is mind blowing. Who of the following established the world's leading consumer packaging platform, the Die Line? Was it Roman Mars? Was it Chris Do? Was it Debbie Millman? Or was it Andrew Gibbs?
Dang. I think it's Andrew Gibbs, actually.
Yeah, it's Andrew Gibbs. So Andrew, check this out. You've made it. You're on a playing card. So I love it, man. This is so killer. Yeah, again, if you're out there and you want to introduce design, or you want to be able to challenge your friends to a design game, I mean, this is it. Like, this is so cool, man. You've got, who of the following designed the iconic Nike swoosh logo? Was it Carolyn Davidson, Tinker Hatfield, Christoph Niemann, Neville Brody? I mean, these are the questions that if my kid was answering, I would be freaking out. I'd be like,
yeah,
insane.
Yeah, that's the name of the online platform, Tabletopia. So,
okay,
what Tabletopia? Can I like chat or type in here?
I think so.
And you just search DesignEye and then kind of follow the instructions from there. It is like a decent amount to manage, but once you kind of get a hang of it, you can make it work.
Okay. And is that a pay to play?
No, it's free. So it's just you can have a free account, and then you can invite other people that also have a free account, or just as guests. Sometimes it's kind of buggy. I've usually been hosting those online sessions myself. I don't know if others have taken upon themselves to do it, but if someone wants me to host and moderate, I can definitely put that on the calendar and make that happen.
Yeah, that's perfect. So if you want to have a live game hosted by Deon, that'd be awesome. I suggest you go. Where can they buy this game? DesignEye.com? Yep,
DesignEyeGame.com.
So go to DesignEyeGame.com, buy this game. The packaging is killer. You've got you've got a 4-color print box, base, lid, insert, and then everything inside. All the packaging in here is, again, killer. You designed every single detail on here. You've got these little, little characters, little pawns. What do they mean? Different things?
So yeah, they correspond to those 6 disciplines. So there is like a story, a universe to DesignEye. So you're actually like a fictional student competing to get into a design school, a prestigious design school called the Haas, and you have to build a portfolio. So that's what you're sketching. You're sketching your original ideas, and that adds up your portfolio, and you get portfolio cards. That's what those gold cards are. 100 points gets you 1 card, and you can choose how many cards you all play toward. But those pawns represent the different type of designer you are. So if you're the red pawn, you're the brand master.
Got it.
You're the print. If you're the orange card, or the orange pawn, you're the print veteran.
Got it. And then, of course, the most important pawn here is the yellow pawn, right? Because the yellow pawn is the packaging pawn, and that's the one. That's the guy that runs the show here.
Yeah, the package professional is what that one's called.
That's awesome, man. And Corey brought up a great point. PackagingSchool.com. They should sponsor something like this. It'd be great. Would you be interested in partnering with a school to produce more of these, to incorporate these into curriculums?
Yeah, for sure. They're actually my main audience too. Like, I want my vision, my dream, I guess, is for it to be a part of school curriculums across the country and eventually across the world. Of course, again, anyone, any family member, anyone can have it in their household, but the educational setting, that's like the primary space for it to be in. So, help those educators teach their students about design or expose the students to design.
Yeah, this is awesome, guys. So definitely check it out. Go to DesignEyeGame.com, connect with Deon. If you know anybody out there that is either part of a board game community, a company that makes board games, definitely share this video with them. Introduce them to Deon. Check out this game because Monopoly is cool and all. Risk is great, but what game gets you to answer who started the die line, right? Like nothing. None of these games that exist have anything to do with what we do every day. So I really appreciate this.
Thank you.
So is there anything you want to, I'm going to wrap this up here. Is there anything you want to end with, Deon?
Yeah. So, DesignEye, it was, my way of trying to solve the diversity in the design industry problem, because when I was in college, I was one of few black design students. When I was in New York, I was the only black designer, and so I wasn't as affected as other black designers were affected. But it's still a reality that we want to help change, because it's good to get ideas from other people, and so that's what this game is mainly about. So you're learning different things about design, but you're also creating your ideas that you can monetize, that you can take forward for the future, and you're also sharpening one another. So this is an opportunity for student players, adult players to do that. I've seen older players who are in a completely different industry play this game, have an idea, now they want to turn it into an actual business. So there's more to it than just answering questions and sketching your ideas, but it's like, how do you take that ideation further? How do you contribute to growing that base, that diversity of and also how do you collaborate with one another, sharpen each other, and help each other's ideas into reality. So
that's amazing to think that you can play a game, learn about design, become just be able to create your own products and items, and then build a business, right? Monopoly is sort of about real estate, but it's sort of not. You're not going to go out and buy a house and a hotel and do all those things because you play Monopoly, but you can build a business by learning about design.
Yeah.
So,
and one last thing, I think the premise, the premise of not the premise, but the approach. So you're sketching. I always believe that at the fundamental level of creating anything is putting an idea to paper, and you can't really do that online. You can't do it in any other medium where it's not as authentic, it's not as real. And so, once you put that idea to paper, that's kind of where all the magic starts. And I think that's a beautiful thing.
Thanks, man. Deon, I really appreciate it. So if anybody wants to pick up a game, I suggest you go to DesignEyeGame.com. What are these retail for?
$49.99, and then
perfect.
Some t-shirts, hoodies.
Yeah, definitely go support. $49.99 is nothing compared to paying $200K to Art Center, right? This is going to get you in there. This is the start. So,
yes, sir.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Deon, man. I appreciate it. I always love talking to you. Again, connect with Deon. This will be replaying all day. So definitely tag people that that might be interested in a game like this. I really appreciate it, guys. Thanks so much. We'll see you.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it.
All right. See you guys.